By the end of this video, you will be a master at placing floors and everything to do with floors in Revit. You'll understand how to change the material composition of floors, how to elevate them up and down for different elevations, how to place them and cut circles and cut squares in different slabs and different floors. And you will be ready to start modeling houses and different types of projects in Revit. Before we get started, I want to let you know that all my courses are for free on this platform called School. It's the first link in the description. You have beginner courses, advanced courses, as well as walkthroughs in all aspects of Revit, engineering, and career. You can go through all of these courses, and if you have any questions, you can DM me personally. You can have one-on-one video calls with me, or you can ask the community where I will or someone else in the community will get back to you regarding any questions regarding Revit. So click that link in the description and join my free learning platform. What we're going to do is we're going to do this according to a floor plan or like a housing plan which I've created, and we're going to make the floor as if we are building this house, so as if we are modeling this house from scratch. So let me show you what this house is. If I bring this, you will see that this is the house that we're building. We want a floor for this level and we want a floor for level 1, right? So I'll show you, give you understanding about how floors work and everything to do with Revit, and then we'll build it for this house specifically. So you have your first floor and you have your second floor plan, right? What I do want to say is that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grid lines. So this house is like a rectangular house spanning that 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. But you'll see in our floor plan that I've created on Revit, which I created this in my project setup video, which is also on my YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description if you want to learn how to do this. But I also have the free template for this, so you can start off where I'm pretty much starting off. It's linked in the first link in my bio, which is my school group. You can get access to all my resources for free in that group, and you also have a free community, so you can ask me questions, DM me personally, and anyone else who's interested in learning Revit, right? So you can go and check that out. You can have this template for free. I created this in my previous video, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 1, 2, 3 here. So you want to actually add an extra grid line 5 over here, so we can actually model this house and place our floors, right? So let me do that. You'll notice that this says, this is sort of at an angle because this is based on our survey data, which we imported in my previous video. If I change this to Project North, everything will come back to normal and we can add our extra grid line. So if I just take this and I do CO on my keyboard, I can take this and I can go this way and I can place this at 5500, click enter, and you have your grid line 5, which is automatic, right? This needs to be pinned so we don't move it around, and then we can probably fix these grid lines up by unpinning one of them and moving everything so they all come at the same time. We can move this elevation marker to the side, and then you want to make sure you pin everything in place again. So you have this sort of grid that we're going to build our house and model our house on. The floor command, let's talk about that. The floor command is in the architectural tab. Underneath here you'll see floor. There's no keyboard shortcut for that, but you can add anything you want. If you click this drop down, you'll see there's different types of floors. There's architectural floors, structural floors, and those are the two main ones, right? The difference is you'll have different properties associated with each. We're only interested in architectural floors because we're just modeling a house for fun, right? So we click architectural floor and you'll see that a new editing dialog box comes up. You have this modify tab which comes up and you have all these options here. You will see that if this boundary line is selected and you have different options. You have a circle, you have start to end radius arcs, and you can actually go ahead and if you want to do like a circle floor, you can click this, click anywhere, do like a circle, click this. If you click this finish edit mode, it'll make that circle as a floor. So you have a circular floor now, right? If you want to look at this in 3D, you can click this and then you can go to this, which is section box. If you type in BX on your keyboard, it'll do the same thing and it'll open this. So you can see that now you have a floor which is in 3D view. If you want, you can pull this out so we can see it at the same time. Place this on the side here. And so I made this in my floor plan, right? My ground floor plan, and you can see it in 3D view. But this is a circular floor. We don't really have houses like that. Even our floor plan is not like that. So let's get rid of that. So if you click that and click delete, it'll go away. Again, let's go back to our floor. If you click that, if you click this boundary line option again, you'll see that it changes. So now you have a rectangle and you have lines. So if I click this rectangle, what I want to actually do is go from 1A all the way down to D5 and click OK, right? And if I click OK, it's going to create that floor and you'll see that floor there. And that's actually in line with what we were talking about here, because we said that our house is spanning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grids, and then it goes down from this grid line all the way down here. So let's just see how big this is. You have this grid line, and this grid line, and the distance between those is 6,000 meters. So if one of this, if you do DI, you can see the dimension between this and this. If that's 6,000, our house actually is only going to span from here to here. So we've actually made our house a bit too big. Let's edit this, because our floor is not actually meant to be that big. Our floor is only meant to be 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes big, and then 1, 2 boxes down, right? So 1, 2 boxes down. How do we edit this? Once you've placed your floor, you can click the floor and you can go edit boundary, and then you can edit everything you want again, right? So you can take this, you can move this up, and it'll snap onto that line, right? You click enter, and now you have your floor which has been placed properly. What we can do is, since I've finished my editing mode, right? I've finished. So you can place a floor, and once you click that tick, right? Once you're in the floor, you place everything. Once you click this tick, it finishes. So once you finish this, now you're back into your normal editing mode. If I place another floor on top of this floor, see what happens, right? If I go floor, architectural floor, and I want to place, click this boundary line so I get a square or a rectangle, and I want to place a floor in the middle again, and I click OK, it'll come up with some sort of error saying highlighted floors overlap, right? And you'll see that in your 3D view, there's a floor within the floor. So Revit is actually smart. It'll tell you if there is an overlap in the floors which you are producing. So that's a good thing that for you to know, that if you have floors which overlap, Revit will give you a warning, right? However, let's click that and delete it because we don't want it anymore. So it's gone now. On our 3D view, it's no longer there as well. If I click the floor which already exists and I click edit boundary, and then within this command, I'm already in the editing mode for the floor, right? This is the floor which I already placed. If I then place a box within here, right? Highlighted lines overlap, lines may not form closed loops. If you click OK, right? You click continue. Oh, lines cannot intersect each other. Okay, well, this line is intersecting with the line of my previous floor, right? So it's not working. But what I can do is I can delete those 4 lines which I created, and if I have that rectangle but sort of in the middle, something like this, right? And I place this and I click OK, it's going to actually cut a hole in that floor. And the reason you can't see it fully, it might look different, is because my view is not extended. So you want to drag that view, and you'll see that this floor I created, and I clicked edit boundary, and within there I put another floor or like another box in there. Once I click OK, since I was in the same editing mode, it actually modified the floor which was existing and it cut a hole in the floor, right? So you can do this with anything. You can't create a new floor command and then edit it. You have to edit the existing floor if you want to cut a hole within the floor, right? So edit boundary, you can add a circle somewhere here, click OK, and then it'll be cut, right? You want to extend this view again so you can see everything. So that's your whole floor, right? Let's just say that I don't want to do that anymore. So I can just select this, and you can't actually delete the circle. You can't delete the square yet or the rectangle. You have to edit your boundary and then click this, delete this, then click this, right? Instead of selecting all 4 of these, you can just hover over one of these or select one of them, hover over it, click tab, it'll select everything, click, delete, right? So you can do that and then click OK, and you have your floor back, right? Let's say that I want to change the elevation of this floor. I want to move the floor up, or I want to move the floor down. Well, if I click the floor and I go here, it says height offset from level 0, right? What if I want the floor to be 100 mils on top of the level or 200 mils on top of the level? I can click this and I can go 100. If I click OK, right? Okay, now this floor is actually raised 100 mils on top of the level. You can't really see it from where we are now, but if I go to a elevation view, like east elevation, you'll see that, okay, you have ground floor, and that ground floor line is going in through the floor. And the reason is because the distance from that ground floor line to the top of that slab or the top of that floor is 100 because we raised it. So if we click that floor again, let's click the floor, click this floor, and you can do this from any view, by the way. 3D view, section view, any view. If you select something, it selects on all views. And you go here and you go 0 again. You want to 0 offset that. Click enter. What's going to happen is it's going to go back down. So then the top of that slab is going to be aligned with that level, right? A really important thing for you to note is that whenever you place floors and it says 0 elevation, that means the top of the slab is lining to that elevation, right? So if you want to put a floor in level 1, right, and we go back to our ground floor, let me move this east elevation over to here so you can see everything. So you have your 3D view, you have your elevation view, you have your floor plan. If I want to place another floor and I go, and if I click floor, right, let's just say I click boundary line again, so I get this rectangle and I want to place it from here to here, but I want to place it on my level 1. So remember how we have a ground floor and then we have a level 1? I want to place it on level 1. Well, before I place it, I can actually edit which level I'm placing it on. So instead of ground floor, let's go to level 1, right? So as soon as I place this from here to here, it's not going to say it's overlapping because I'm placing it on a different level, and you will see it actually come up on the elevation view. It's going to come up here as soon as I exit, right? So if I click tick, there we go. We have your floor placed on level 1. You can do the same thing on level 2. You can do the same thing on level 3. And you can move them up as well. Let's just say that I have this floor and I wanted to move it up to level 2 because I placed it in the wrong area. Well, if I click this and I click I want to host this on level 2, it's going to kick up to level 2, right? Same thing. If you want to go back down to ground floor, it's going to kick down to ground floor, but it'll tell you highlighted floors overlap. The reason is because you already have something on ground floor, right? So it'll be on top of ground floor. So again, you want to put this to level 1. So you have a floor on level 1, you have a floor on ground floor. Let's say that I wanted to have half of my slab is thicker and half of my slab is thinner, okay? What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, let's just say that, okay, what's the thickness of this slab? If I go DI on my keyboard, I can find the dimension, go from here to here, 470. Let's just say that my slab, half of it needed to be thicker than that, or it needed to be, it needed to be like a different type of floor. How do I change that? Well, this is where different floor types come into play, right? So I can click this. And what you'll see is, since I'm on the ground floor, it's not actually a good idea to edit this on ground floor, because if you select this, you'll see that the bottom one is getting selected, but I want to edit the top one, right? But as soon as I select the top one on level 1, I'm not seeing it here. The reason is because I'm on the wrong floor plan. So what you want to do is you want to open your level 1 floor plan. So it opens and then you'll see, right? So this is very important. Whichever floor you want to edit, you want to make sure you're on the correct floor plan, right? So on level 1, what we can do is, instead of, let's just say that half of this I want it to be from A to B, I want it to be a certain thickness, and then from B to C, I want it to be another certain thickness. Well, we actually have to place 2 different floors, right? You can't edit the same floor and have 2 different thicknesses. So the way we can do that is, again, edit boundary, right? And we can draw let's see if this works. We can draw a line in between this and this. And hopefully what that'll do, okay, it'll say lines cannot intersect each other. Okay, the highlighted lines intersect. So that's not possible, right? Let's delete that. What we have to do is we have to place a different floor in a different command, right? So let's move this up into that floor, click OK. and we've exited out of the floor command. We have to now open the floor command again. So we have to go to architecture, floor, and we're in a completely different floor command. Now we can place our rectangle again from here to here, right? Click OK, and you have two different floors. You have this, which is selectable, you can see, and you have this, which is selectable on the right side. So then if you want to make this thicker, you can select this, and you can go here and change the wall type, or the floor type rather, right? So you had this floor type, let's just say you want to change it to this. So now you have a thinner wall, or like a not as thick floor, right? Change it to this, becomes a little bit thicker. Change it to this, becomes the same. And you have these different floors that you can change it to, right? What you will see is on 3D view, you can't actually see anything. And the reason for that is because the view range, or the box that you can see things in, is only showing the floor on the lower level. So what you want to do is you want to click this box, which is called your section box, right? And you want to drag this up. As you drag it up, you'll start seeing what's on top. So you can see that, okay, there's a floor here, there's a floor here. Two different floors, but they are sort of different thicknesses, right? Let's just say that I want the same type of floor. So what's this floor? This is floor GRND. Okay, let's change it to that. So this is the same type of floor now, right? If I want to offset this floor by, let's just say that I want this floor to step up on top of this floor. How do I do that? Well, I can take this floor, I can use the move command, which is MV on the keyboard, or you can click this, right? You can select this, you can go up, you know, type 500 maybe. And what I want to do is I want it to go from here to here. But I want to make sure that they're aligned properly, right? How do I make sure they're aligned properly? I can use the align function on my keyboard, AL. So AL, I want to align it to this, and I want to align the bottom of this slab. So click this, and it's going to align, and they're both in line now, right? So that's perfect. What you'll see is this is starting to look like a slab where half the floor, you can walk here and then you can step up and you can walk on top of this, right? Because the slab is like stepping up. But you can't actually build a slab like this. You want it to have some sort of overbite over here. So the concrete, you can actually build this slab. So the way we would do that is on this floor plan. What's this? This is the top half of that slab, right? We would click edit boundary. Oops. Okay, again, click this, edit boundary, right? And you want to extend this down a little bit so that we're sitting on top of the other floor slab. So let's take this, we'll use the move command, click this, and we'll go down like 500, right? Click enter, click OK, and you'll see that this is sort of overhanging on top of this slab, right? What you want to do is you'll see that they're not really joined yet. We can actually join these two slabs by just clicking this and then clicking join geometry. You click this and you click this, and it's going to join those two, right? So as you can see, they look pretty joined, right? They look like they're one slab. They're not technically one slab, they're two different floors, right? But the geometry has allowed you to join it, and it looks as if on the Revit model they've been joined together. So when you want to export this and send it to another subcontractor, when they link it into their Revit file as an engineer, they'll say, okay, the slab is stepping up and it's joined, right? So that's how you would go about trying to shift things around, join things, and everything like that. I want to let you know that all my courses are for free on this platform called School. It's the first link in the description. You have beginner courses, advanced courses, as well as walkthroughs in all aspects of Revit, engineering, and career. You can go through all of these courses, and if you have any questions, you can DM me personally. You can have one-on-one video calls with me, or you can ask the community, where I will, or someone else in the community will get back to you regarding any questions regarding Revit. So click that link in the description and join my free learning platform.